Welcome to Focus on Creativity, where we talk about creativity. Enjoy. Hi, I'm Charr Crail, and this is Focus on Creativity. And today I'm talking to the amazing Roberta Walker, who is a landscape designer, and her specialty is drought-tolerant landscapes. It's so interesting. And because she's such an expert in this field, she's been featured in all kinds of magazines, national magazines, in fact, Home Magazine. She's also been in Sacramento Magazine. She's been in Sunset Magazine. And she's even been in Gardening by the Yard on HGTV, which is kind of a big deal. So listen to what she has to say. She's pretty brilliant. So Roberta, welcome. Glad to have you here.
Thank you.
So
nice to be here.
Yeah, thank you. Well, the conversation, as you know, is about creativity, and you're phenomenally creative. And I've seen the before and afters of the landscapes that you've done, and they are just gorgeous. I mean, night and day. It's extraordinary how you can take some little piece of land and turn it into the Garden of Eden, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. But I would love to hear about your process of doing that, where you get inspiration or how you develop your ideas for transforming anyone's garden.
Okay, well, I'll tell you that little slice of land for me is a canvas that I'm going to paint on, but I'm going to do it with plants. And at this point in my career, I have a palette of plants where in my head, I know the colors, I know the height, I know when they're going to bloom, I know what they're going to mix with. And so when I'm designing a landscape, I'm designing a living painting, a moving, living painting, but it's a co-creation. It's a co-creation because I'm coming into someone's home and landscape and I'm doing it for them. So obviously they're part of this painting, this conversation. And then the other component or person or beings that are part of this is the actual landscape. So each landscape has a certain exposure to the sun. It has a certain position in the yard, and all that has to be taken into account. So very often when I first meet with clients in the landscape, I'm listening to what they want. I'm looking at the yard and I'm listening to what the yard can bear and wants. And then the ideas start to flow in my head. So it's almost like it's just flowing. It's like channeling, but it's channeling through my my knowledge of colors of plants and my own artistic idea of color. I love color and I love texture. And so when people hire me, they're hiring me because of what they've seen that I've done. You could hire someone else who does something very clean and precise, like a little English garden. Not to say that I can't do a little knot garden, but my style would be that full, rich color. Yeah. And then there's, the other components of, well, this has to live. There's my phone. It has to make it through the seasons. And I'm going to take you with me into another room, so it's not quite as noisy. Anyway, so there's not only the artistic component, but there's also the, can you see me now?
I can.
Okay. There's also the component of how to make this work for the long term, maybe forever, maybe for as long as this house stands, this garden has to grow and fill in and survive. So that's the fundamental part. There's a creative part, then there's the bones of it, and so all that mixes together and it's all part of experience. But yes, the artistic creative base is the first thing that we walk through.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I love how you talk about listening, not only your client, but actually listening to nature, listening to the yard. And one thing that came up while you were talking about this and my understanding of the drought tolerant, you talk about color. I think that I speak for many people when they think about, drought tolerant, meaning no water, they think cactus. And it's really not like that, is it?
No, I speak quite a bit. And the reason I do speak, and I've also produced 2 DVDs, is to educate people and let them know that drought tolerant absolutely does not mean covering your whole landscape in rock or add a few cactus. That's not what it is. We live in a Mediterranean climate. Think of Mediterranean climates. Think of Italy. Think of parts of Spain. They're not dry and dusty. Our climate actually allows us to grow so much, not only fruits and vegetables, but perennials full of color. We have, I mean, Sacramento, that's where we are here. We have fruit trees, nut trees, citrus trees. You know, this is an agricultural area too. So when you take the plants that can bear the heat of summer, bear the cold that we go down to, and you put it on a drip system, low water, you're creating a drought-tolerant landscape. So it's not all or nothing. There's so much in between.
And there is so much in between, actually, because we do have tendencies here in this area to go through droughts, literally. And so your landscapes, I take it because of how you create them, actually will tolerate that quite well.
Well, yeah, they're plants that can survive on very low water. And, you know, years and years ago, my first article in Sunset Magazine was 2009, and they photographed my home, and it was called Life Without Lawn. 2009. Okay, so when we've gone up and down, and as far as people saying we're in a drought, we're not in a drought. But from 2009, right after that article came out, Channel 10 interviewed me because guess what? We were in a drought. We were in a winter without very much water. But aside from any drought, where we live, we have 9 months of hot, dry summer.
Yeah.
So why would you, well, I'm not going to ask why because people have done it, but we have rolled out the carpet of lawns just because it's easy and it's green and it's pretty, and spent millions, if not billions of gallons of water watering something that really shouldn't and doesn't exist here, you know, regionally.
Right.
So in the East Coast, yes. In the Midwest, yes, because you get water throughout the year. But here, if you're not going to water your lawn in the summer, which we've been restricted, it's not going to be green. So why not choose something that's not only full of texture and color, but becomes a habitat for butterflies, birds, a place where you could actually hang out in. I mean, who hangs out on a big expanse of grass? Nobody. But when you take the grass out and you put it in a sitting area and maybe a little wall and some mounds and a pathway and beautiful plants and it's uplit, that becomes an extension of your living space, outdoor room, part of your square footage, not just the indoors. And then that 9 months of dry weather becomes something great because we could eat outside, live outside, where even in San Francisco, even in the Bay, you can't do that. The fog rolls in at night and it's too cold to be out here. So, you know, there's if you just look at drought tolerant in one aspect, you could say, oh, it's dry and ugly, but it's not. It's life. When we start creating this beautiful artistic palette that becomes our living space that functions not just for us, but for the environment, this is more than homeopathic, you know what I mean? This is a healing for everybody.
My gosh, I'm so enthralled by this. What a beautiful way to put it. And I really love what you said about, you know, looking at your garden, looking at your backyard or your front yard, however that is, as like a living painting. I think that's so inspiring. So inspiring.
I call them Harry Potter paintings because you know, they're alive and they move and they change.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And you know what's really lovely is when I go back to my landscapes, I've done so many. I've done probably around 1,300 landscapes in my career.
Gosh.
So you can imagine wherever I drive around town, there's always a street or some streets where I've done a landscape. So I drive by and I do what I call my drive-by shootings. I take pictures of the landscapes.
Oh.
And what I love is over the years how my creation has become, it's evolved and changed into something I can't even imagine. I mean, imagine how it could be, and then I see the reality. And it's taken from what I've put in and taken on its own life. Of course, it's natural, it's nature, and it's going to do that. So It's really lovely.
So you're just sort of helping it along.
Well, I designed it to do something, and then it's done something, and then it's even gone beyond that because everything's grown and mixed in. But the color palette that I wanted, the silvers that are mixing with the plum colors, and in the spring when the trees are blooming pink, and then I put a yellow forsythia underneath, and then the dogwoods. You see, there's so much color and there's so much beauty and fun. It becomes this living tapestry all through not just the year, but the years.
Oh, it sounds so beautiful.
That's what's nice to go back and see.
I love it. I love it. That's right. So your work is actually, and you know, wherever you live, you can actually drive and go see your work. How interesting. You can go drive and see your own work as it blooms or blossoms or grows through the years.
Yeah. Not only that, I have people that will email me and say, I just can't believe how beautiful this is. You know, every time I look at my landscape, we are so grateful for what you've done, because
Mm.
it's fall and everything's in color, and I've designed things to go yellow and orange, and I mean, it's really beautiful. And this spring, you know, it's a new surprise, and so I get a lot of feedback, not just from the visual, but from the homeowners that I've created their design landscapes for.
That's so wonderful. All right. Well, of course, I can hardly stand it. I like want to see an example of this. So, you've designed your home, right? Your front yard or backyard. Is there any part of that you'd be open to walking around and showing us? I would love to see.
I can. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you my drafting table first, because I have a plan there, so you can kind of get an idea of the process, and then I'll
Beautiful.
take you out to the yard, and hopefully everyone keeps in mind that we're just coming out of winter, and we've had huge storms. So, you know, spring is just around the corner. So now, do I just turn? I'm going to turn my camera around. Hang on a minute. Just the light's going to go on. Okay, and you tell me if you could see this.
Oh, yes, definitely. That looks great.
Okay.
Oh, look at that. And that's all. Is that hand drawn?
Yes. So this is hand drafted. And so this yard is just kind of a basic, right now, dumpy little yard with a wood deck. And what I've done is the pool is coming in here, and here's a raised wall with waterfalls. And then here's her bedroom door over here, this client. And before, there was just a little wood deck here. But now she's going to walk out into a platform and get in her hot tub and overlook her pool. And at the end, in the evening, these beautiful bowls with fire will illuminate this other sitting area here. So again, a yard that was nothing really. The dogs use it as their, you know,
yeah,
their recreational place. And now it's going to become this entertainment center, a living center. Against the garage here, I have a espaliered fruit tree, so there'll be, you know, fruit. It'll be sustainable as well. So that concept is going to transform into something living, and I will take you on a little tour to my garden, which is going to go through a transformation because, well, I'll explain it as I show you. Hang on. We're going through Roberta's private castle.
So your garden is so lush and so beautiful. And I bet you spend a lot of time in it yourself.
I do. You know, there's only so many hours I can work and concentrate on something before I have to go out to the garden and just relax and let the breeze do its thing and let me be in nature. So I love being in the garden. The other exciting thing is in my garden, I will be building a tiny house. So I'll have even more studio space to hang there. So I'm really excited.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it'll be 300 square feet, and just a really lovely place to stay. So again, it's your whole property is your canvas, is your square footage, is your living space. And to have somebody artistically design it to be like everything you've ever wanted. When you look through a magazine, you see a garden, you think, oh my God, that's so beautiful. I would love that. You can have that. You can have that. Just like you could go to a gallery and buy a painting you love to look at every day, but this one's alive.
It leaves me breathless and speechless all at the same time, just the notion of that possibility. I love it. Gosh. Well, thank you. Is there, I don't even know at this moment what else to ask you other than it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I love what you're doing. What do you have, how do people find you? If somebody wants to talk to you about it, how do they find you?
Well, I have a website, which is robertawalker.com. And the website is the best way to connect with me because not only does it have a gallery of pictures, it also has a page that explains what I do, and I have an associate as well, and so there's a little biography on both of us, and then there's a page on what our fees are, what my fees are. So the website is sort of the place you'd want to start, and on my website I have a blog, which I'm not great about contributing to, but I do as often as possible. And I have Roberta Walker Landscape Design Facebook page where I'm even more regular with my posting.
Oh, awesome. So people will get to see the actual before and afters?
Yes, I post a lot of before and afters. And then my DVDs, which are available on my website as well in my store. My latest is called Before and After, and it's all before and after, and how to make the transformation, the materials that you would use, the process, etc., what things cost. It's really comprehensive. And I do this because not everybody can afford to hire a landscape designer. So I want to empower people as much as possible through educating them to create it themselves or to work on it bit by bit, but just to know where to start, know what's available, and know how to get to your end result.
Right. And there are a lot of people out there who are do-it-yourselfers. They find great joy in getting their hands dirty and doing it themselves. And that's wonderful. So that's what the DVDs are, right? They're basically instructional, but they also, they show
Definitely.
what's up and the step-by-step. Wow. That sounds pretty awesome. All right. Well, Roberta Walker, amazing. Thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome, Charr Crail. I really appreciate it.
A pleasure. Thank you.
Because let me tell you, it takes a creative person to connect with other creative people, and you're a hub of creativity.
Oh my gosh, that's a big compliment. I really appreciate that.